Hello my friends, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk about surgery day and how my week went. So something a little bit different about my surgery is that it was outpatient, and that was a little interesting because I wasn't staying overnight, and because of that a lot of things just kind of sped on through. They went super fast. Which brings me to, I wanted to really record some footage in the hospital and go through all that jazz, but I had no time. I had zero time. As soon as I got there, it was go, go, go. You have an entourage of medical staff that is just getting you ready, and then you go right into surgery. I really didn't have time for anything. My husband and I, we did plan to document this, but there was so little time and I had so many people coming in and out of my area. I wasn't in a room. I was just in a large kind of staging surgical unit where you just hang out and wait for surgery. And there were at least 4 nurses coming in and out of my curtain. And I had like a pharmacy tech, I had my anesthesiologist, my surgeon came in, and it was just so fast that we just didn't have time to film anything. It really felt like the moment I arrived, about 20 minutes later, I was down in the OR. I mean, it felt like that to me anyways, because of how quick everything was. So let's start from the beginning. So I checked into the hospital at 8:30, and I would say around 9:45, everyone started getting me ready to go downstairs. And I had my IV in, they did some little labs. I had a pharmacist, I guess he was looking over my medication. The anesthesiologist came in and let me know what was gonna happen, what kind of anesthesia I was gonna get, and asked if I had any nausea. Now, previously I did have some nausea because of my endoscopy, and I let him know that. So they took a little extra precaution to make sure I didn't get not that nauseous after. And I will say it definitely did help. So they had a little patch on me. They did add Zofran, I believe, to my IV to help with that nausea. Then my surgeon came in and he explained the surgery again and let me know how many incisions I was gonna have, which one was gonna be a little booger, and just kind of wanted to know if my husband had any questions or if I had any questions. Then from there, it was, I will see you in the OR. I looked over to my husband and I'm like, what time is it? And he's like, yeah, it's 9:45. So I guess he had got done early with the first case. I was the second case. And then the anesthesiologist came and wheeled me to the OR. So I get into the OR. They have this inflatable mattress thing that it makes an easy transfer. So I didn't have to transfer myself to the operating table. They blew up this mattress that was underneath me and I floated over to the operating table, which was pretty cool. I mean, it was like, wow, what kind of stuff is this? So I went over, floated over to the operating table, and then the anesthesiologist puts the mask over me. And as he's doing that, I start to feel this burning, coming through my IV, which is just not my favorite. It is what happens when they're getting ready to put you under anesthesia. They give you some type of injection and it just burns. It feels really, really hot under your skin for a while. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's just kind of an odd sensation. But as I was putting the mask on, he snuck that in and I said, did you just sneak in that injection that burns? And he says, yeah, I did. So that was kind of funny. And I said, well, I'm glad you snuck it in because I hate preparing for that dang thing. Sorry guys, I burp a lot. I apologize. I will try to cut as much as I can out of this. But so he does that. I have the little mask on me and he says, okay, breathe and have a good night's sleep. And I'm like, peace. And I was out. I was out. And the next thing I know, I'm waking up and they're asking me if I feel any pain anywhere. I did feel pressure. I said a little, which is okay. Okay, Izzy, you feel a little pain. And then they said, where? And I said, the top. They said, okay, yeah, we'll get you something for that. So they wheel me to PACU. So that's the first like recovery stage that you're in. I'm in there. At that point, they start checking my glucose levels because something in anesthesia, it does make your glucose go up. And my glucose did go up, so they had to give me some insulin. And twice they had to give me insulin. But I just stayed there. I felt like I was never alone. Like there was constantly someone there. My nurse, that I couldn't open my eyes to save my life. I mean, they were just so heavy and all I wanted to do was just sleep. I think I was in PACU for about 2 hours, and then I can hear them talking. I can hear them saying, you know, Izzy, you know, how are you feeling now? How's your pain? And I'm like trying my best to say something. But I don't know if I'm making any sense. I don't even know if words are coming out of my mouth. So she says, I'm going to poke you one more time, check your glucose. And she does and says, okay, she's good. Go ahead and call her husband. So then they wheel me to another room. And another nurse comes in and takes over and starts talking to me about pain, and that I think she wanted to give me some pain medication. And I was a little worried because it was with water. And I said, can I do this? And she says, yes. And I'm like, all right, I'll take it. So I woke up enough to do that. They kept trying to get me to open my eyes. It was really difficult for me to open my eyes. I just felt super, super sleepy. As far as pain, I mean, I can't really say because I know that they had a lot of pain medication in me and already. So pain, I wouldn't say when I came out I felt any of that. I felt pressure. I felt pressure just in my abdomen. And I can say it was a mixture of like gas, and it was a mixture of what they had just did in that big incision spot. Sorry, my dog is drinking. Go ahead, Ted, get hydrated. We all need to get, I guess he's my reminder to get hydrated. Sorry, this looks gross, but it's my greens drink. You done? No, all right. Okay, so I was saying, I did feel the pressure in the larger incision. And so I let them know that, and she comes in with some Tylenol. I think they gave me some oxycodone and some more nausea medication. And I slept. I slept for another probably hour while my husband was still by me. And they were just waiting to see how I felt and if I was ready to go home. So my intention was to come home. I was really hoping that I would come home, and I'm glad I did. I really, really am. I felt more comfortable in my own bed. I was able to get up with the help of my husband and walk around, you know, my own home. I was pretty good, but I mean, no joke, a little bit was a little scary having surgery and then just going home. There was a lot of things still being somewhat sedated, you know. I still felt kind of out of it with anesthesia. So there was still some level of me like freaking out. I all of a sudden forgot everything I was preparing myself for. And that was because I just wasn't in my right mind. So luckily I had prepared a lot of things for my husband before and let him know, okay, this is what I need to pay attention to. These are the things that we're going to want to focus on. And then before he left the hospital, the nurses also let him know all of that too. So my husband did an excellent, excellent job making sure that I was okay. And I felt so, so happy. I think that is super important because as much as we prepare for this, we can do all the research in the world, you know, we can prepare ourselves for it. But when you get done with surgery, you're not thinking as clear as you normally are. And you can't really say, okay, here, I'm going to hammer down my liquids. I'm going to get this. I know I need that. It's different. For those 2 to 3 days, you're going to have to really depend on your support and make sure you have a good support. If you are by yourself, I'm sure it's possible. I'm sure you can do it. And it's just a little difficult because, you know, you can't really think that clearly, because all I wanted to do was sleep. And if I just allowed myself to just sleep and not get out of bed and walk and not do my little breathing exercises, like I really needed that person to remind me to do it. So if you are recovering at home by yourself, set some alarms. Set alarms so that you know you need to wake up and you need to do your laps, that you need to do your breathing. You need to take your medications. It's not impossible. It's just you got to prepare just a little bit more. The most challenging part of this journey, I would say, is the first 3 days. The first 3 days really, really, really felt like, how do I balance out fluids? How do I balance out protein? Am I drinking enough? Am I eating enough? Am I going to the bathroom enough? Am I walking enough? Am I breathing enough? Like everything just felt so crucial those 3 days and panicky. But staying calm, having a calm support also really, really helps. I knew what I had to do. I was very educated with my team. They let me know the things that I need to do. So I did prepare quite a bit. And if I forgot, I knew I had it written down. So writing everything down, making lists, making yourself some reminders is super helpful. Just because, you know, you're not really thinking. As far as pain goes in those 3 days, you're gonna have some pain. It's just your body is releasing all of that anesthesia, and now you're needing to get on top of the pain with your medications that you have at home. Right away, we had to get on Celebrex, Tylenol, nausea medication, stool softeners, all of that. We had to get on top of it right away. And that also plays a factor in being a little scattered because it was outpatient. Normally you'd have your nurse that would do that as you are somewhat recovering. But we didn't have that. We had to recover and figure out how that medication and fluid intake is going to work. So that was also something that was pretty challenging. And as far as pain goes, for me, I didn't have that gas pain that was in the chest or in the shoulder or in the back. I didn't have that. I ended up having pain that was right in my tummy, and it just felt bloated. It didn't travel to my chest. It didn't travel to my back, any of that, or my shoulder. I didn't feel it up here at all. I just felt it right in the middle. Hold on, I gotta take a drink. And when I laid down, I was able to feel that gas move around, and that was kind of crappy. No position felt good. I hurt because of the incisions. I wasn't quite on top of my pain just yet, so I'd be kind of uncomfortable with gas and with incisional pain, and just not being able to find my comfy spot. Day 4 is where things started to really turn around. I started to feel a little easier with getting my fluids in. I managed to stay hydrated this whole time, which was surprising because the first 3 days I really felt like it's hard to get all of those fluids in. I mean, you feel the restriction, and you're just not hungry, you're not thirsty. It's just all sleep. So that one is a little challenging, but don't get discouraged on that. It is okay as long as you are trying, as long as you're trying to get some fluids in. If it becomes really bad, don't be shy to go back to the ER, go back to the emergency room and get hydrated. But that's not something to be terrified about. It's just to be cautious. And there's so many signs that happen before that point. You know, monitoring your urine color. That was what I was doing. I kept making sure my urine was staying within like a light yellow haze. And if it got dark, I knew, okay, Izzy, you really have to try to drink some fluids. Eat the smallest bit will really help, you know? So making sure that you monitor the urine color. So luckily I didn't have any of that. I monitored everything. When things started to look a little darker, I was like, okay, now I need to really push myself. This is where that push comes. It's really amazing how this whole process makes you feel completely vulnerable and completely powerful at the same time. I did not think that I could get to a point where, you know, I would be so unsure of, am I doing this right? Is everything going to be okay? And then pushing myself so hard to get those fluids in, pushing forward, and you're showing why you did this and the commitment that you took to doing this. So it was amazing being able to see how I went from scared to oh my gosh, I forgot things. And then I'm like, no, I didn't forget anything. It's just all this medication is needing to get out of my system so that I can refocus. So it is a very interesting feeling being able to feel both of those things. And it really makes this journey real. And it really shows you how much that you are just working your patootie off to make this be successful. So let's talk about what I have noticed right away after surgery. I have noticed right away, I used to have some swelling in my calves, in my feet, and in my knees. And since surgery, I have not had that. I have no water retention, which is lovely. I mean, it could be because, you know, I'm trying to regulate my hydration, but it feels so good to not have so much fluid in my legs and in my feet, especially. It's pretty painful to walk like that. And that's one thing that I noticed that was just amazing. The second thing that I noticed was my blood pressure. It dropped significantly. And I don't mean in like a danger zone, in a healthy zone. And I do not have to take my blood pressure medication. That was after day 1. Today is day 7. And I have been monitoring it every single day. And every day it's normal. And I can't even tell you the last time my blood pressure was normal on its own. It has always been crazy high. Not to mention my pulse. My resting pulse, you guys, was always like 120. It is ridiculously high. And now my resting pulse is like in the 60s, in the 70s. And that is a huge improvement. So I have noticed some significant weight loss already, but I'm not going to let that take the driving seat right now. Right now, I just want to get past this 2 weeks. I want to enter in my puree stage. I want to get a handle on the eating and the drinking. And then let's just jump right into the good, fun stuff with getting the weight down. I am all about it. I just want to feel every part of this. I really want to make sure I take my time to soak it all in. I'm not taking any of this for granted. I am actually really enjoying every phase of this. I know it's hard. It does feel very hard. Anyone who says that this is not hard, I dare you to try to do this because it is insanely hard. You are restructuring your life. You're restructuring your entire digestive system, and one little flip up and it can cause a lot of pain. So you really have to be careful. You have to be mindful of everything that you put into your body. Not just physically challenging, it is mentally challenging. And I am just grateful for doing this. I'm grateful that this has happened. I think this is the smartest and bravest decision I have ever made in my life. And I never thought that I would have the courage to do this. I never thought that I would just really not care what anyone says and thinks about me by moving forward and doing something for myself and my health. And I do have to say, it is extremely liberating being able to care for yourself in this capacity. I am enjoying it. If you have any questions, comment below, let me know. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Boop.